This is Goku Sunday BC. Welcome back for part 2 of a special two-parter series where I am counting down my top 50 favorite rock/metal albums of all time. I'll enjoy the music in the background. First from KI, second will be from Tekken 5. So with that said, first we're going to look at the previous 50. The Joshua Tree, U2. 49. Karma Code, Lacuna Coil. At 48, All Hope Is Gone, Slipknot. Then Disclaimer 2 by Seether. Mother Earth, Within Temptation. Dear Agony, Breaking Benjamin. Delta Machine, Depeche Mode. Candy Ass by Orgy. Disintegration, The Cure. Immortalized, Disturbed. Insomniac, Green Day. Then Black Celebration, also from Depeche Mode. 4 by Godsmack. Risa Risa, Rammstein. The Hunting Party, Linkin Park. Blackbird, Alter Bridge. The State, Living Things, Linkin Park. The State, Nickelback. Fallen, Evanescence. At 31, Gravity by Our Lady Peace. At 30, The Pale Emperor, Manson. 29, 21st Century Breakdown, Green Day. At 28, 10,000 Fists, Disturbed. At 27, Appetite for Destruction, a true classic, Guns N' Roses. At 26, Wishmaster, Nightwish. Now coming in at 25, another great album from one of my personal favorite bands of all time in metal. At 25 is again the band Rammstein with their third studio album, Mutter. Coming in at 24, criminally underrated album from, sadly, only one album only they did. At 24 is the album Tear the World Down by We Are the Fallen. Seriously, if you've never heard We Are the Fallen, check them out. Coming in at 23, from Breaking Benjamin. Definitely my favorite album from this band. At 23 is their album Phobia. Coming in at 22 is my all-time favorite Metallica album. This is the first Metallica album I ever owned or listened to. That being the self-titled, the Black Album. Comes in at 22. Coming in at 21, an album that's much higher than most people's, by the band A Perfect Circle, my all-time favorite rock band. And their album, Eat the Elephant, comes in at 21. Coming in at 20, a great album, in my opinion, their best, better than their debut, Fallen. Coming in at 20 is the album The Open Door by Evanescence. Personally, I think it is far superior to their first album, Fallen, and I think it's aged a lot better quality-wise as well. Coming in at number 19, it's easily one of the most overplayed albums in the last 20 years, but it's still one of my favorite albums of all time. And 19, from one of my top 10 favorite rock bands of all time, Creed, is their second studio album, Human Clay. Coming in at number 18 is easily one of my favorite albums of all time. I think it's a somewhat underrated album from Linkin Park. And this is an album, as time has gone on, I love this album more and more. Coming at 18 is their album Minutes to Midnight. Coming in at number 17 from the, I think, criminally underrated rock, power/thrash metal band Iced Earth is their concept album based around one of my all-time favorite comic book series, Spawn. and that is their album at 17, The Dark Saga. Coming at number 16 is my personal favorite album of all time by Disturbed. At 16 is their album, which I love thanks to songs like The Animal, songs like Asylum, Another Way to Die. Coming in at number 16 is Disturbed's album, Asylum. Coming in at 15, a great, amazing high highs from my favorite symphonic metal band of all time. Coming at 15 is Within Temptation and their album, The Unforgiving, which was also a concept album and superb album. Coming in at 14 is arguably one of the greatest prog albums of all time, in my opinion. This is the album that made me a fan of the band Tool. Coming in at 14 is Tool with their album 10,000 Days. Arguably my all-time favorite Tool album, without a shadow of a doubt. That was the first Tool album I ever owned. So, a little biased. But this is my favorite list, so bias is okay. Coming in at 13, Design Your Universe by the amazing symphonic metal band Epica. Coming in at number 12 is a tie between two albums. I couldn't choose a favorite on this spot. It's a tie between Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory from Dream Theater, tied with 1984 by Van Halen. Two incredible albums, a great prog album and a great 80s hair band album. Easily my favorite album from Van Halen. Rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen. Coming in at number 11 is, I think, one of the most underrated albums easily of the 2000s. It's sad, a lot of people have never heard it. It's the self-titled album called Immigrate by the band Immigrate, which the frontman at Immigrate is Richard, lead guitarist of Rammstein, in case you didn't know. Also, check out their most recent album, which they did with Teal from Rammstein, also Carnocopia from Ghost. But that comes in at number 11. Coming at number 10 is one of the greatest, in my opinion, thrash albums of all time. Coming at number 10 is Countdown to Extinction by Megadeth. Coming in at number 9 is an all-time classic by one of my personal favorite bands of all time, if not my favorite metal band of all time. Coming in at number 9 from Iron Maiden is their album Powerslave, which is the album that made me a fan of the band. Coming in at 8, a criminally underrated thrash album by Iced Earth again, and that is their 1998 album Something Wicked This Way Comes, which was the beginning of the Something Wicked story arc, started by John. And a great album vocally, thanks to, of course, the lead vocalist at the time, my favorite, Matt Barlow. Coming in at number 7 is my second favorite album of all time from Linkin Park, which is my third favorite rock band of all time. Coming at 7 is Hybrid Theory, which shouldn't be a surprise because anybody who knows me knows I love Linkin Park and I love Hybrid Theory. But with that said, coming in at number 6 is a tie between my two all-time favorite Iron Maiden albums. I'm sure some people would disagree with this, but that's fine. They can. Tied at number 6 is between The Final Frontier, which I think is maybe their most underrated album, just my own personal opinion, but it's a tie between The Final Frontier and Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, which is a masterpiece of a metal album. Coming in at number 5 is an album that holds a special place because it became my favorite album of all time by my second favorite rock band of all time. That being from Green Day and their album American Idiot. A true rock opera masterpiece, in my opinion. It's my all-time favorite album from them. I like it way more than Dookie. Sorry to fans of Dookie, but it's like my fourth favorite Green Day album. Coming in at number 2 is a tie between my top 2 favorite Christian rock slash metal albums of all time. At 4 is between End of Silence by the band Red and Storm the Gates of Hell by Demon Hunter. Two great albums. End of Silence was the debut album from Red, and Storm the Gates of Hell was the fourth studio album by Demon Hunter, which was brought out just about 2 years after The Triptych, which is a great album also. Coming at number 3 is a masterpiece of an album. I love this album to death. And kind of hard to believe that this album is tied with an album that only came out about 2 years ago, but that's how much I love both these albums. Tied at number 3, first is Prequel by Ghost. I love the album. I have listened to it from front to back multiple times, and I love it. It's tied with, though, my favorite Linkin Park album of all time, which will always hold a special place for me, and that is Meteora. Coming at number 2, a great new age rock album, in my opinion, and I love this album. It was the first album review I ever did. I may need to do an updated version review of that album sometime in the future. It's called Avalon, and it's by Sully, the frontman of course, Godsmack. But I love this better than anything I've ever heard from Godsmack. But that's just me. Everyone has their own taste in rock, metal, or so on. Coming at number 1 is no debate for me. It's my favorite rock album of all time by my favorite rock band of all time. And of course, frontman of the band is Maynard. Coming at number 1 favorite rock album of all time is The 13th Step by A Perfect Circle. Which, if you see my top 10 favorite rock bands of all time, you know A Perfect Circle is my number 1 favorite rock band of all time, and they have been since the mid-2000s. They've held the spot of my favorite rock band of all time for probably about a good 13 or 14 years. They've held that spot, and nothing's come close. Though they dethroned Linkin Park and as time progressed, though, then Green Day slowly made higher and higher for me. But anyways, that's my favorite rock band of all time with my favorite rock album of all time. So with that said, leave a comment. Tell me, what is your personal favorite rock slash or metal albums of all time? And also, I want to mention one final album quickly. An album that holds a very special place in my heart. And this is an album that I put on a tier above even my top 50 favorite albums of all time. And that is Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd. That is an album that holds a very special place for me, honestly, thanks to songs like Hey You, or Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, or Comfortably Numb, which is arguably probably my favorite guitar solo of all time. But with that said, I'll see y'all next time. Stay safe, and I hope you all are having a good early November. And I hope you had a good Halloween. But I'll see you soon enough.